my title or my role here is the sort of consultant in medicine and science at the club. That started at the beginning of pre-season 2022. After having assisted the club the year before with some complex hamstring and groin cases, the club wanted to get me around sort of every week to try to assist the boys in terms of looking after the players, both from a performance point of view and a medical point of view. So yeah, I've been very lucky to be given the opportunity to do that since, I suppose it was November 21. Well, it was a really interesting time of year. I think we were mid-season from memory. Patrick came off the track after a game and he reported some vague calf symptoms. We ran a barrage of tests on that. We were suspicious initially from a clinical point of view. And he'd injured a really important part of his calf, which is where the two calf muscles join together. It's something called the aponeurotic plate. And we know you've got to be careful with these sort of pathologies. We needed to be constantly listening to Patrick about when he felt ready to explode and return to training and return to playing. But we wanted some hard data around that we could trust beyond what the athlete was telling us to be sure to get things right. He was quickly ready to train at a very high level and was wanting to play. But where the data came into it was that we had the VueMotion data that was showing us some movement characteristics, both in terms of stride length, stride frequency, heel drop, some other critical measures in his gait that told us he wasn't quite ready. Based on that data, we were able to sit down with Pat and say, look, you're able to keep training, but we should probably keep our powder dry for a couple more weeks and invest in an extended, almost mini pre-season in the middle of the season. The reason why we're pretty strong on this was Scotty and the team's plan was to look after some of the older players to make sure they weren't just kept healthy, but to make sure we periodised their programs on an individual level to make sure they were flying in finals. So we took that opportunity, turned it into a positive, if you like, and invested some other conditioning work into Paddy. To his credit, he was willing to do that in the middle of the season rather than just return to play when he could have, but at a higher level of risk. And to the coaches' credits too, to Chris and all of the coaching team, be able to sit down with them and say, look, we've got plan A, B or C here. This is how it could all pan out. Which way do you want to go? They were all really happy with taking, if you like, almost a more aggressive conservative approach to set up for finals. And by the time we were coming into finals, he'd done his mini pre-season, he was back playing, he'd proven his health, and he was starting to really hum. He was really starting to explode, hit high speeds he hadn't hit before. All of our checkpoints in terms of strength data and VueMotion data, in terms of some of those critical parameters I mentioned before, they were all looking really good. So we were very confident, but so was Paddy, which was really important. Yeah, he went into that finals campaign feeling ready to go. Some of the profiling or data we collect both with VueMotion and with Kangatech happens every week on every player. And it gives us an idea as to how players are recovering from games and how they're responding to training loads and game loads. So some of it's rudimentary maintenance data, if you like. When someone's got a pathology, there might be another level of data collection that comes in that we think explores the strength of a muscle in outer range or a particular pattern of acceleration or high speed running. So then we'll dig into extra data points in there. So with Paddy, it was a combination of both. We kept monitoring the normal stuff, but there was a few other measures that were layered in there that we thought would help us make a better decision. Yeah, so it would be safe to say that if we based Paddy's return to play on how he was feeling, he felt ready to play a couple of weeks before we returned him to play. But we had some really good hard numbers that showed us that that would involve too much risk and it wouldn't necessarily let us set up for the back third of the year. So combining that data with a good conversation with Paddy, help us make a collaborative decision around how best to look after it. It's not just about collecting the data so you're safe with the players, it's about training harder and more safely. So it's not to do less, it's to do more of the right sort of work for that athlete to get them at their best.